a lot of people are asking about whether a president could be indicted. And another person who held the same post that you each did, David Kelly, spoke to that question on this show. Take a look.
It's a policy. It's not the law. Policies can be bent. Policies can be broken.
If you were back in that office, I'm not naming a president, say any president, President Johnson, President X, would you have considered that a potential option on the table?
Sure.
Benito, do you agree?
Yes, and I'm not surprised at all to hear David say that.
So that's a count of two, if we're doing a head count, that yes, it's a policy,
yes,
but warranted, not naming the president. You think the office could move forward that way?
Yes.
Preet?
Yeah, so I'm going to disappoint some people. If the policy of the department, written down, even if you disagree with it, with respect to something so important like the immunity of a president of the United States, and you have a campaign finance violation that you think you can prove beyond a reasonable doubt if you went to trial against the president, against the backdrop of that policy, I'm going to be bold here and say, no, I would not indict that case.
But it sounds like you're exercising discretion.
Yeah, because of the policy, in part because, you know,
yes, policy is a sound policy, but as policy,
if you're going to do something like indict the president of the United States, which is going to cause a rift in the country, which is going to cause some people to think that you're political and result-oriented, and you don't even have on your side the policy of the stated policy of the Justice Department, I think you're going to cause a lot of people to lose faith in the decision, even if it's the correct decision, given that that policy is in place. We should change the policy.
But the fact that you can indict a president doesn't mean you actually indict the president. You may decide, for all the reasons you just enumerated, that you would exercise judgment against a prosecution because it would tear the country apart, because the crime that you're prosecuting for, or whoever the president is a relatively minor offense that's not typically prosecuted in the federal system, or some other reason. But it sounds like you're saying, it sounds to me like you're saying the policy will survive as a policy as long as you don't, but you would not want to use it in this case. In the case you,
yeah, I guess depending on how you're parsing it, am I saying that I would behave in accordance with a policy, or would I, in consideration of the policy among other factors, choose in a campaign finance case not to indict the sitting president? And maybe that's more accurate. It's a little bit splitting hairs, but to the extent you may be correct, I'll say that if I did have proof beyond a reasonable doubt that the president had, like he likes to say he can, shot someone in broad daylight on Fifth Avenue and killed that person, then I might not abide by the policy.
That's, yeah. Or instead of arguing over profits taken out of the Trump Hotel, it's a direct payment, like a bribe, you might feel differently. So I think we're not in significant disagreement.
Yeah, I guess what I'm saying is,
it sounds like Benito has pressed you beyond one hypothetical, as prosecutors and lawyers sometimes do, into the notion that if the policy is you're never allowed to indict, that would be a blank check for anything. And while Preet seems more skeptical than you and David, you have pulled Preet towards saying there are situations where you would override the policy and indict a president.
Preet said that.
Yeah, I said.
I said that, actually.
He's very persuasive, but I've said it before.
So you agree on that?
Yeah, I think there's a reason why the president is treated a little bit differently. No one's supposed to be above the law, and I agree with that. But you do have this argument over the Constitution and the indictability of the president. You also do have the president, among very few others, who's subject to a different kind of check, which is impeachment and conviction in the Senate. You also, as we've been learning, that a president of the United States can flout all sorts of laws, including doesn't have to be qualified for security clearance, gets one anyway, can tell anyone else to override professionals saying that someone gets a security clearance or not, doesn't really have to divest himself of anything.